I was diagnosed with sickle cell when I was about 18 months. That's a year and a half. It started with a swelling of my hands and feet. And my mother was alarmed at what she saw. And then I was taken to a hospital, Mercy Hospital, and that was where I was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia.
So how was growing up for you?
I felt very different from my mates. I felt like one singled out for headache. I remember that one very, very well. Always having a headache. And when we were at play, they didn't restrict me from playing. I went to play football, was a goalkeeper. I was very good at all these things, but I got tired easily, more easily than them. While growing up, while in primary school, I used to miss classes a lot. I'll be at home ill for several weeks, sometimes several months. So by the time I needed to go back to school, I didn't feel like going back to school. I feel like the routine of being at home always is part of me. The routine of being, even when I got admitted to hospital, sometimes I won't feel like leaving the hospital. I would hide my books so that my mother would say, okay, since you can't find your books, stay at home and let's be together. But she would know that it was out of an unwillingness to go to school, and then she would order me to school. Now getting to school, I'll just feel like a newcomer among my mates, having been away for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. If I was able to go to school out of the 5 days, 3 days a week without having any issues with sickle cell or with headache forcing me to be at home, it's quite a lucky week for me. And then they will have to force me to school, and then the teacher would come around and say, well, you want to go back home? I'll say yes. And then she will call my mates around me. Then they will start to push me here and there and start singing. I remember the song very well. Isansa Matunde Ale Ko, that is, the truant is here again. We want him to go back home, but he can't go. So after that singing and taunting, the teacher would get 2 of my mates to hold me tight. One would hold my arms, the other my legs, and then I'll get flogged, severe flogging. But by the time, after a few 3, 4, 5 days, I'll be ill again and have to stay at home or in the hospital. In secondary school, I had my first experience of sickle cell pain crisis, bone pain crisis. We had a run throughout the term, about 9-kilometer run throughout the term. I was anxious to participate in it, and which I did. So you had to go on empty stomach, and then I was almost at the finishing line. But even then, there was a point that I didn't even feel like myself. I was just running, jogging along, but not quite myself, as if my consciousness had left my body. But I was conscious of going along with so much tiredness. And then close to the finishing line, I began to have serious pain, serious pain all over my body. So at a point, I just could not continue. I just could not continue again, and all my mates were still passing by me and stuff. And then at a point, I could not go on. So I squatted, and I had sharp pain in my waist, so sharp pain that I flung myself up, and I just lost consciousness. It was the next day that I regained consciousness in the hospital. Interestingly, it didn't affect me negatively. I was in primary school, I was among the top 5. No matter the amount of time I was absent in school, no matter the amount of days, no matter the hospitalization and being treated at home, I was always taught. And in secondary school, I was among the best. It never interfere with my academic performance. Never, not at all. The only time that it got in my way was we are going to have final exams, WAEC, during the West African School Certificate exams of 1978. So at the time they distributed the papers and asked us to start, I was in very, very serious pain. I would hatch my back. It started from the leg, but within a short time, I was having pain in my back, in my thighs, all over my leg, chest, everywhere. In a hall filled with my mates, I didn't want to be the focus of attention. So instead of yelling out loud as I would naturally do, I suppressed the pain. I could not even understand the exam question, much less answer anything. I was in serious pain. I could not hold my biro steady. The pain was making me to just jiggle all over the paper, and I started to shed tears. And it was a day, even when I remember it now, I want to start. So I could not take part in the exam. I went outside the hall to sit, and while sitting there, I just recalled all the pains I've been having and it getting in my way. So I was there, I could not walk, I could not move. It was one of my mates, Dixon Atiba. It was him who put me on his back like a baby and deposited me in the hostel while my brother went to get a taxi to take me to the hospital. Sickle cell pain is in a world of its own. The most recent and the most severe one I had, a day I will never forget, October 19, 2006. I was just about preparing to go to bed. Sometimes I'll feel, okay, pain is coming on. I'll have that feeling that pain is beginning to develop. But this one or that, they just came 100% straight. It was intense and it felt like I was being pounded by 100 men in a mortar. That was how it felt. So, and that day, it was the most severe I'd ever had. The pain can be so intense that you wish you had never been born. Intense pain that gives you instant depression, instant unwillingness to continue to live. Many times I've prayed to God, please, God, relieve me of this pain, if it even means death. I don't know how many times I have said that within myself and even expressed it in words. I was always curious about my health, about my being different from my mates. I was always questioning myself, what could be wrong with me? By the time I was 16, 17, that curiosity became a burning passion, became a burning fire within me. Let me know more about this sickle cell of a thing. When I was at Kwara State College of Technology, I was always going to the library and reading big books, biology books on sickle cell. Sometimes I would get medical texts and just to get understanding about this condition. I would say that the turning point came when I discovered the value of ordinary water. Even till today, I've been practicing this for more than 30 years. On awakening, I would take lots of water. I began to notice a change. Within 3 months, I started to have less pain, less severe pain, and then I felt healthier. I felt healthier for it. I remember an occasion around 17 or 18 years of age. The consultation fee for a hospital that I wanted to go to was 200 naira. 200 naira was a lot of money then. At a time when for 2,000 naira you could get a brand new vehicle. So there was also another occasion when I was in a naturopathic hospital. They said they could cure me of sickle cell. I remember the fees that they charged at the time. It was enough to buy two brand new vehicles. Yes, so it was financially sapping for my parents and for my relatives. Yes, it was. It has not been so financially sapping for me by the time I started working as it was for my parents and my relatives when I was growing up. Because somehow my health has improved. I would say grace of God and lots of water has been my healing. I hardly have crisis. As a journalist with Newswatch, something would happen in Sokoto, I will have to be there the next day. Port Harcourt, I'll have to be there. That was my desk, the features desk. But there was a time it was getting too much for me. I decided, this journalism of a thing. I won't fall ill, but I will just feel weak within me. So, and at that time, I already had another offer to go to the Guardian and write. And they told me they will not stress you to just be a desk job. You won't be moving around much. But I was hesitant. I didn't quite want to go there, and then it was. I knew definitely I would be going all over the place, which I didn't want. Well, in any case, the thing just occurred to me like a kind of brainwave. Why not start something on sickle cell? You've been a journalist all your life. That was how I started the Sickle Cell magazine. At that time, it was called Sickle Cell Journal. I think about a year or two later, the name was changed to Sickle Cell News. In the 1980s, while I was doing my master's, I was moving with a girl. She was a secretary here in Lagos. I was in Ibadan. I did my master's in Ibadan. We were speaking on phone one day. No GSM at that time, no mobile phone, just landline. We were speaking on phone, and then all of a sudden, I had this sudden sickle cell crisis. I dropped the phone, and I was in hospital for 1 week. So when I came back, I called her, and she had broken down in tears. That why would we be talking, just two of us, and all of a sudden she would not hear from me anymore? And what happened? I told her about sickle cell, that I was living with it, and then I told her, look, I would like to marry you, but the only thing that remained was for me to know her genotype. I had already proposed to her, and she had agreed. So I took her to the lab in Ilikpeju. When I saw the result, I saw AS. She saw a cloud pass over my face. To cut a long story short, that was the only reason we didn't get married. By the time I got into relationship with my wife, the first thing I did was I checked her genotype. When I found AA, I said, okay, I can continue. So we have 3 boys, and we are living well. Take care of yourself. Diet is essential. Balanced diet and all that stuff. Fruits and vegetables. Take care of yourself. Lots of water, and have complete trust in God. Having sickle cell is not a death sentence. It is not the end of the world. So I always give myself that encouragement. Well, I'm in pain now, but I will not always be in pain. Once I'm out of the pain, I'm just like any other normal human being, able to push myself, able to go for it. And there'll be times and moments of challenges, definitely. Even though you don't have sickle cell, there'll be challenging times. So sickle cell is just another big challenge, and it can be overcome. We live with sickle cell not by chance, but by purpose, because there's a mission to fulfill, a life to live, and an example to give. So that is the way I see it.